A very happy Thanksgiving 2025 to all of our friends out there in the Boss Hole Transformation Nation. This is your host, John Brewer. Joining me today will be none other than Sara Best. Yep, we're going to do an episode focused on Thanksgiving and perhaps take a slightly different approach to it. But I also want to assure all of you out there listening how thankful we are for your support and participation with the Boss Hole Chronicles. 5 years. I can't believe it. It's been 5 years. And you have helped to make this podcast reach the top 10% of podcasts worldwide. So we are very thankful for that. But now let's talk about Thanksgiving 2025 and jump into the episode. The Boss Hole Chronicles are brought to you by Real Good Ventures, a talent optimization firm helping organizations diagnose their most critical people and execution issues with world-class analytics. Make sure to check out all the resources in the show notes and be sure to follow us and share your feedback. Enjoy today's episode. Well, hey, Sara, how's it going?
Hi, John. Oh, it's real good. It's going real good.
It is real good. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm excited that we're back here. You and I we haven't had much time to do an episode together. You've been busy. I've been busy. You and Karen did a great one a few weeks ago, and we've had some solo ones. But I thought, gosh, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, 2025, I would love to come together with my good friend and business partner, Sara Best, and talk about things for which we are thankful, but maybe in a slightly different way. How does that sound to you?
I think it sounds spot on and very timely.
Well, I just want to prepare everybody that, well, first of all, we said this before we started recording. I mean, how thankful we are for family and our work together and all of those wonderful things. But I'm reminded at this time of year, and I should be all the time, is just a piece of scripture that I remember from James, the book of James, where it says, "Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds." And I always, found that a bit confusing because it's like, do you remember in Animal House when Kevin Bacon was, kneeling down and he was getting slapped in the backside and he said, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" I know that's my twisted way of thinking, like saying, "Thank you, God. Can I have another?" But
Please, sir,
honestly,
may I have some more?
yes, but it's the sort of thing where, is it possible to look at our trials and our difficulties and be truly and authentically thankful
Yeah.
and understanding how these can help shape us? And I think about the word gratitude. And you just recently you have a gratitude breakfast with dear friends of yours. You've done it for years. And this is a really important time to do this. But would you help us think about gratitude? Give us a perspective and share it with our audience.
I'm happy to do that, John. And I just have to comment, the scripture you quoted, it is elusive. And
Mhm.
it's hard to imagine that we're meant to be grateful for adversity and challenge.
Mhm.
I mean, we're certainly not promised a life without challenge. But as you and I were reflecting before we hit record today, I certainly wouldn't be where I am had I not faced, difficult trials and tribulations. I remember when I was younger, my mom would say, "Well, this is such a great learning opportunity." And I would be like, "Okay, God, enough of the learning opportunities, when I made a mistake or when I
Yeah.
moved in the wrong direction." But what I think you're pointing toward and what we want to offer our listeners as we head, into Thanksgiving time and then the holidays that come after that
Mhm.
is the opportunity to shift our minds. And there's science and biology to this. There's choice, and there's certainly all kinds of support for that.
You have a really helpful way of looking at gratitude.
Mm. I'm really grateful for the people who taught me about gratitude. And there's been so many good authors. And of course, what we know to be true about gratitude is it's the quickest hack to get from a below the line state where we may feel frustrated, triggered, activated, annoyed, bothered, left out, overlooked, disenchanted, disengaged, to a more engaged, open, curious, committed to learning,
Mhm.
fully alive state. And, we've talked on the podcast here before about above the line and below the line.
Mm-hmm.
We've highlighted, gosh, I can't remember the original. I don't know where that originated, the above the line, below the line, but I know the Conscious Leadership Group, Jim Dethmer has written about that in the 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. Brene Brown highlights it in her newest book called Strong Ground, just came out about a month ago. And so gratitude becomes a vehicle, a medium, a mindset that allows us to move from frustration and angst and separation and anxiety and worry and anger to a state of full aliveness where there's joy and peace and connection. And yes, even with the dynamics we have going on in the world today.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's really important. There are scientific benefits. Can I share those very quickly?
Yeah, let's hear them.
I mean, for the people out there who are a little skeptical going, yeah, whatever. Oh, okay, so I say thank you. No, when you do that, here's what happens in your body. You shift your nervous system out of fight or flight. So anytime our ego gets a little triggered by something, we will run, full on fight or flight in our bodies,
Mm-hmm.
adrenaline, the whole bit. And then the cortisol and the other hormones and they all have to jump in to try to create homeostasis. And the reason we don't have that ever is because we're usually in a constant state of arousal and agitation. So fight
Mm-hmm.
or flight is pretty normal. So it reduces our heart rate. It reduces stress almost immediately. It takes away that startle response where, we're clenching and blood is rushing out to the limbs. So if that isn't enough to help people, like just listeners, where you are right now, just take a little breath in. Like stop. Not if you're driving, don't close your eyes or anything like that. But just take a breath in and notice what's happening. Is your heart racing? Are you grabbing the steering wheel pretty hard? Are you fretting about the next thing? Gratitude does lower stress hormones. So the things that are meant to protect our body from overstress are now overworking. We have
Mm-hmm.
adrenal fatigue. We have diagnoses now that are directly related to this overload of stress hormones. It also, increases dopamine. So it's better than shopping on Amazon or drifting over to Instagram, which not that I ever do that. When we drift, we're looking for a dopamine hit. I'm going to just distract my attention away from something that's uncomfortable. Gratitude and appreciation do better than that. It's like running a mini marathon. It like fixes your body, regulates emotion, gets you out of a negative spiral, shifting your state more quickly. And just two more things. One is it reduces inflammation. So I don't know about you, John, but at my age, like sometimes my fingers hurt, my knuckles, my knees.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
inflammation. And it makes our brain foggy. It makes our digestion system messed up. So why would we not? It's free to have gratitude as a way to reduce inflammation. And then heart health.
Mm.
It helps regulate the variability in our heart. It lowers our blood pressure. It creates more endurance for the stress over time. Oh, and I forgot one more, which is also, okay, there's two more, John. It's sleep and immune function. So the last thing
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
say about the biology, and I mean, we could probably talk for an hour about this, but gratitude is in fact an access to all things that are good for us, nothing bad.
Yeah.
Improving sleep, improving our immune function, and all the other things I mentioned. Wow, it's a lot.
Again, it takes something that seems rather elusive and makes it very practical, and it's practical for every single individual, everybody listening to this program, and of course all of us. And the other thing that I love the idea when you say it's a hack, and to me a hack is something that I need to use it right now.
Yes.
Because otherwise I'm going to spin out, and it's going to change and as you said, my mindset or my mental map of how I'm looking at whatever this circumstance may be.
Yeah.
But I think that is so critical, because you and I talked about how in our work, not only in our work with our clients, but also the stories we hear in the Boss or on the Boss Hole Chronicles. I mean, there are people that are living. I mean, they're miserable in their work. And I mean, again, to a degree, we always encourage people to think about what part of that do you own personally.
Yeah.
And yet you may work for a boss hole. I just recorded an episode with Dr. George Reed, and he's going to be in. He wrote a book called Toxic Leadership, but it was in the military, and he talks about these poisonous, toxic. I mean, it's a smaller fraction, but their impact on the workplace is so high. And then
Yeah.
I think about those people that may work for a toxic leader or a boss hole, and it's like, how do you take that, and how do you convince somebody to say, well, I'm so grateful for this person for whom I work that is making my life miserable. And
Yeah.
that is a huge leap, a mental leap, but a lot of times, we're always encouraging them to think about what is it that you can draw from that circumstance.
I think that when someone's dealing with a boss hole, so when the way they're being treated at work is unfair and unkind and it's not healthy, that's one of many factors that I think contributes to the stress and the chaos. And what the statistics are all telling us in this day and age, that emotional intelligence skills are going down.
Hmm.
uh, I think, John, you and I were talking before today's session about what's called the emotional recession. The emotional
Mm,
recession, which has a price tag and a cost to it, much like the Great Recession of 2008. That's
hmm.
why they're calling it the emotional recession. It just says that, we're connected now more than ever through technology and other things, but we've never been more alone.
Mm.
And so, in the cases like a bad boss, feeling like you're failing at your performance, feeling disconnected from purpose, that's something you and I also talked about is, what about our why? Like,
Yeah.
how can our why become a really fortified foundation for being able to endure stressful and challenging, uh, tumultuous things? 44% of people report daily stress, according to Gallup. And I will just say, McKinsey says 2 in 3 leaders cite emotional exhaustion as their biggest challenge. So we know people are hurting and suffering. And we would say in that case, John, we're talking really about emotional intelligence.
Hmm.
EQ is not a soft skill, it's a survival skill. Gratitude is right in there as a methodology for creating emotional resilience and sustainability.
Yeah. The idea that EQ is a survival skill, I think, is so
Hmm.
powerful because I have, within the last month, I've had a chance to work with a number of our clients and their managers and supervisors because we are taking a number of clients through at this time of year their engagement assessments. And,
Yes.
we have an amazing platform to gather this data. But what's really unique is that it creates very specific detail for managers from their direct reports, as long as it's more than 5 people, responding to it, just to maintain that best practice. But the thing that's so amazing, and I think that's why this was so close to the surface for me, is that in every single one of these sessions, I've had to remind them that some of you are going to receive data and feedback that is very hard to take.
Hmm.
And I said, it's okay to feel those feelings. I mean, it's
Good.
okay to feel hurt. It's
Yeah.
okay to feel disappointed or confused and completely taken off guard. It's now what you do with that information moving forward that will
Hmm.
define who you are as a leader, as a
Yeah.
manager.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, there were people that were, I mean, distraught. And I remember speaking to one saying, as hard as this is, I'm asking you to embrace this and look
Yeah.
at it as something that's very favorable and very positive because your
Yeah.
people took the time to share this with you.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to be very hard for them. And so that's, you know,
Mm.
finding gratitude in that is really, really difficult for people.
Well, that takes us off, or, could easily take us off into a whole nother direction about why do we, I'll speak for myself. Why do I get so triggered when people tell me something that feels critical or that feels, it's because
Oh,
there's a part of me that believes it's true. It's because there's a part of me that fears the worst. Like, because of that, you're not going to approve of me any longer, or I don't add value. And that's a whole ego thing. Every one of us has to develop a stronger sense of self awareness and to know what our weak spots are. Like,
yeah.
where are we likely to get hooked so that we're not fully available to hear the things, the very important and precious things people took the courage and time to share.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, John, back to your original point and the
Mm-hmm.
scripture quote, like, wow, being grateful for tribulation, being grateful for trials as opportunities to learn and grow. Maybe what we could do is kind of end on the idea that you don't have to have hardship to have gratitude, and you still get the same benefits. The other thing we need to know about how our brain works is, we're replacing thoughts. So mindset shifts are when we move one mindset out and move another one in. I was
Right.
just at a leadership workshop this morning, hosted here locally by the chamber, and the presenter was talking about, our basically she was talking about our mental maps and
Mm-hmm.
how when we're kids, there are things that we decide about ourselves and the world that get really hardwired and they're unconscious to us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good at math. In order for me to be appealing to people, I have to look or sound this way. I just can't read music. Whatever it might be, and everyone has their own individual set of mental maps.
Right.
Self-awareness is what helps us identify those, and then we can begin to decode those. But knowing it means I can change it.
Mm-hmm.
So, the mental map we're looking for with gratitude is to help the mind develop more wiring around seeing what's good versus the natural and sort of hardwiring to notice what's wrong,
Yep.
either in ourselves and other people. And I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, so I'm saying it in my own plain English, but you're swapping out the ideas. The brain doesn't know the difference. Whether your brain hears, I suck at math, or it hears, I am so grateful, to have the family that I have or to have the opportunity I have to learn and grow. It doesn't know the difference, but it
Right.
will respond to either one,
Yep.
either from an above the line or below the line place. Is that
That
helpful?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I think about in practical terms, people would be saying, okay, guys, I mean, this is all well and good, but how do I actually
Mhm.
make it work? And I think about the times, as a matter of fact, Sarah, I think it was, yeah, November of 2022, you and I did an episode called Gratitude in the Workplace.
Mhm.
Interesting how it's necessary to circle back to this and how it's more important than ever. But what is
Yes.
a practical way to do it? And I think about we've shared with our audiences to, for example, a gratitude journal. Mark
Mhm.
Ostech that his journal, I mean, actually writing down, I mean, committing to paper with your not typing it into your computer or your phone, but like literally writing it out
Mhm.
makes it very real. And if you get into
Good.
that habit, and it doesn't have to take a long time, but in the morning or sometime during the day, capture the things for which you are truly grateful. And
Mhm.
some of those may be really crappy things like, thank you for the feedback I got from my team. That was really hard to hear and I need to embrace it or I need to think about how this shapes who I am. Whatever that is.
I got a good one, John.
Yeah.
Thank you for the flood that happened in our basement last week when the sprinkler system froze, because now we get to sort through all the stuff that's contained down there and clear it out. And I mean that. Like,
Oh,
I'm grateful that that happened. Otherwise, it would have sat there for another 20 years.
right. Yeah. The
Yeah,
kids would have had to deal with it, right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We actually use that as an excuse. But it is a different mindset. And so
Yeah.
as we, are a day or 2 days away from Thanksgiving of this year, let me say, well, first of all, Sarah, I'm very thankful for you. I'm thankful for our work together,
Hmm.
how fun it's been. I'm also, and I know you share this, I'm very thankful for the people that are listening out there. When we started this 5 years ago, we had no idea it would grow to this level. And now having people come up and say, hey, I've listened to this or I love this episode. And we're just very grateful for that. And at the same time, you and I can look back on a year of wonderful things and also our own trials. And it's
Yep.
like thankful for that. And it's
Yes.
like that is shaping who we are individually and collectively and how we continue to grow as professionals, even at I know I'm older than you, but at this age.
Hmm. I too, John, am grateful for challenges, that we face as partners, as business owners. And I'm grateful that there's a relationship strong enough to be able to talk about it.
Hmm.
Because I think in a lot of cases we encounter leaders who shut down or work around instead of working with and through, and that's hard. I'm
Yeah.
glad you mentioned Mark Ostach's little gratitude journal too.
Hmm.
It reminded me that I need a prompt. Like sometimes I need a little guidance. Like give me a structure to work within.
Yeah.
Because if I was left to my own devices, I might get, I don't know, inundated or overwhelmed. Like, how do I choose?
And distracted too, or am I doing it
Distracted.
right, or anything else like that? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make sure to put a link to his little gratitude books
Yeah.
in our show notes here because they're like $5 and you can buy them for your whole organization if you wanted to. He, by the way, is a great speaker
Oh,
about
yeah.
digital detox and purpose and all that stuff. Mark is a fantastic human. The other thing, John, we can put in the show notes is a copy of something I created this year for the gratitude breakfast that we hold annually. It's called the Gratitude and Appreciation Worksheet. And again, just a series of great prompts like personal gratitude, relationships and connection, work and purpose. So each category has like 10 or 12 different prompts. And they're things that I wouldn't have thought of. So, for example, I'm grateful for the laughter I share with you fill in the blank. I'm thankful for someone who believes in me because. So it helps us expand the way we think about how gratitude takes place.
Yeah.
A moment I felt especially valued at work was, or my favorite, I'm thankful for the feedback that helped me.
Blank.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I
So
love that.
make sure we put that in there.
It will be in there. So a link to Mark's gratitude journals, a link to your handout. That'll be awesome.
Well, and I think you can harken back to the other episode we did in 2022, but I remember we talked about new, good, and grateful, like starting every meeting with a check-in that says, what are you grateful for? Why? Because of all those things we said happens to your body when you show gratitude,
Yep.
when you think about gratitude. Why not start a meeting in a state of calm and presence and readiness versus I just ran from another meeting. I haven't used the restroom in 4 hours and I'm starving.
Yeah.
Like, could we settle in? So new, good, and grateful is an easy one. And lately, I've been giving in all the facilitated workshops we've been doing or my leadership sessions, I bring gratitude cards. I happen to know somebody who sells really cute gratitude cards. Maybe we could put a link to that in the show notes too.
Yeah.
The card says, so grateful for you. And I give them to the members of the workshop. And I say, your homework is to send this to somebody or give this to somebody who has helped you. Who are you grateful for? So simple things. Just take a minute.
Take a minute. That's awesome. Well, listen,
Yeah.
everybody out there, have an amazing, wonderful, and blessed Thanksgiving. And I'm just so glad, Sarah, that we had a chance to usher in Thanksgiving with this kind of
Yeah.
episode.
Me too, John. Good work. What's a good one? I guess we'll see you next time on the Boss Hole Chronicles.
Thanks very much for checking out this episode of the Boss Hole Chronicles. It was so good to have you here. And if you have your own Boss Hole story that you want to share with the Boss Hole Transformation Nation, just reach out. You can email us at mystory@thebossholechronicles.com. Again, mystory@thebossholechronicles.com. We'll see you next time.